Hello and welcome once again to the video. In this one I thought I would continue a long-running series looking at Formula One Grand Prix motor racing cars of the past and present. So with today's one I thought I would look at the 1991 McLaren Honda. However, I do not have a car. I do not have a model for this particular car. But what encouraged me to do this video today was that a few days ago my 11-year-old son decided to draw this picture for me. I didn't ask him to, he just picked. And I think he might know that I like the look of the 1991 McLaren Honda. At the time, of course, I wanted nothing but bad things to happen to this car because I was supporting Nigel Mansell in his Williams FW14. But in hindsight, you know, I could look back and recognise the beauty of this car, such a gorgeous car. So I'm going to use this picture for the video. Let's make sure that's in focus. It has to be in focus. Lift it up a little bit like that. There you go. So I'll give you a few stats on the car. This was designed by Neil Oatley and his crew of personnel. It took part in 18 Grand Prix. Now I know what you're going to say. There are 16 Grand Prix every year, or there were back then, 16 Grand Prix every year. Pretty much the same 16 in the same order for about, I don't know, more than 10 years on the trot. But the reason why there was 18 is because this car, unbeknownst to me, actually took part in the first two races in 1992. But didn't win either of those two races because of the dominance of the Williams FW14B of Nigel Mansell. Now, out of those 18 races, it won 8 races, this car. Now, that might seem quite good, 8 races and 10 poles. That might seem good, 8 wins, but not so good when you consider that this car won the first 4 races that it took part in. The first 4 races of 1991, which was a record until Nigel Mansell did 5 wins on the trot at the start of the 1992 championship. Would have been 6 had he not had a puncture in Monaco, but that puncture led to one of the best final laps in any Grand Prix between Ayrton, Senna and Nigel Mansell, which I'm sure everyone is aware of. This was the last car with manual transmission to win the Constructors' Championship or Drivers' Championship. Now, I didn't know that stat either until I looked it up. I thought that the manual transmission ended pretty much in sort of 1990. I thought, yes, obviously Ferrari came out with the semi-automatic gearbox in 1989. I remember the horror of that. Well, I mean, well done to Ferrari for coming up with the innovation. Full round of applause to Ferrari for coming up with it. But unfortunately, because it was the first time it was used, it was so unreliable, and the Ferraris kept constantly having blue smoke blow out of the rear of their cars, sort of halfway through nearly every Grand Prix in 1989. Anyway, that's a different story. Out of 32 finishes from the two cars, 32 races from the two cars, they only finished 9 out of 32 in 1989. Anyway, so maybe that's why teams like McLaren still hadn't committed to a semi-automatic gearbox, and 2 years later McLaren was still using manual transmission. They were testing the semi-automatic, but they hadn't committed to it yet. But congratulations to Ferrari for diving in 1989. But yeah, this was the last car to win. Had a 6-speed manual transmission. Seems so old-fashioned now, doesn't it? Gear stick. 6-speed manual transmission. This was also the first and only V12 championship winner, which I didn't realise until I looked that up as well. I almost can't believe that stat. It was a V12 engine, but the only V12 championship winning car. I assume they mean either driver or constructor. But anyway, I find that hard to believe, that particular stat. I thought V12s had been winning before that, but I suppose it was turbos in the 80s that were winning most of the championships. Certainly in the 90s, most of the 90s, or it was all V10s that were winning. So it won the first 4 races in 1991, but it only won another 4 of its 14 Grand Prix. But it was enough to win the championship. Senna won another 3 in 1991, so he won 7 in total, and Berger won 1. However, that win by Berger was a gift from Senna, because the championship was already won at the Japanese Grand Prix, the penultimate round. Nigel Mansell's retirement from that Grand Prix won Senna the championship. And so Senna moved over towards the end and let Berger win, which, oh dear, I thought that was terrible. I mean, Senna was a nice chap by all accounts. Yeah, I never met him, but by all accounts, he was a thoroughly decent chap. Off track, not on track, quite aggressive on track, but lovely fellow off track, apparently. And him, Senna and Berger were pals. So I think it was a genuine felt gift to Gerhard Berger. But I think it's a bit patronising when a professional driver does that to another professional driver, just as a present. It's like, you can't beat me any other way, so I'm going to hand you the win. So I felt that a little bit uncomfortable, and I think everyone was a bit uncomfortable with that. I'm not sure if Berger was. I don't know. What else? Traction control. The 1992 one. That's the 1992 car that had traction control. Yes, the 1992 car did have a semi-automatic gearbox from the 3rd race onwards. The MP4/7. This was also the last of McLaren Honda's dominance, a dominance that Ron Dennis tried to bring back in 2015, if you remember, but didn't work at all. It's only when Honda has come back to Red Bull that there's been success, more success for Honda. But in 1988, 89, 90 and 91, those 4 years on the trot, the McLaren Honda won all 4 Drivers' Championships and all 4 Constructors' Championships. And this was the last one. This was the last one of those wins. After this, Williams dominated for a period, like they had done in 86 and 87. In fact, McLaren wouldn't get back to their best until, well, Mika Häkkinen, wasn't it, of course, 1998 and 1999. And Mika Häkkinen. What else? Oh yes, of course, now the MP4 title. Now, I found this out only a few years ago. I decided to suddenly look it up. Why MP4? Why the McLarens were called MP4 until recently. And the reason is because Ron Dennis, who I think he bought the team, didn't he? I'm pretty sure he bought the team. He wasn't just team principal. He bought the team in 1981. He had an F2 team at the time, and the F2 team was called Project 4 Racing. And so when he bought the McLaren F1 team, he decided to call the McLaren Project 4, sort of merging the two names. McLaren Project 4 MP4. Now, of course, Ron Dennis stopped running the team. I can't remember exactly what year, but what I do know is that from 2017 onwards, the MP4 was dropped and replaced with the, what makes a bit more sense, the MCL that we have today. But this is a nice, very nice picture, drawn by my son. Very nice picture. Very happy to have it. Let's put it back down. Oh, did that just jump? I shouldn't have just jumped. A bit naughty. Yeah, so what other stats were there? I don't think there were any other stats, were they? Let's just check my notes. First championship winner. I said that, didn't I? First and only V12. Last car with manual transmission to win the championship. 18 races, 8 wins, 10 poles. Project 4 racing. Yeah, there you go. I think I mentioned everything. It's the last of the 4 championship doubles by McLaren Honda. So there you go. The very nice looking McLaren Honda from 1991. It's one of my favourite looking cars, although I think my favourite ever McLaren is probably the 1986 McLaren. I forget the MP4 name for that, but I love the 86 McLaren, which looks very similar to the 85 McLaren, the Tag Porsche. McLaren Tag Porsche. Engine designed by Porsche. It's a Porsche engine, but totally funded by a company called Tag. I think it's like a French company or something. I forget what the actual French words are for the TAG, but yeah, that's why it's Tag Porsche, because it was funded by this company called Tag. But yeah, that's what the McLaren was before they took the Honda engine away from Williams for 88. But yeah, the 85 and 86 McLarens, beautiful cars, really, really nice. Really, really nice cars. Especially the 86 one. Oh, God. Again, I only wanted bad things to happen to that McLaren because, again, I was cheering on Nigel Mansell in the FW11. Was it the FW11 in 1986? Anyway, when I was younger, the McLaren was always the enemy, basically. But I can now look back and wonder at its beauty and performance. So, there you go. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you'd like to subscribe, please do so. Or like the video, or comment on the video, or even leave a tip on the thanks button below the video. But until next time, I don't think, now often when I do these videos, I miss out a fact. And then afterwards I think, oh, I missed that fact out. And how do I put it back into the video? I can't put it back into the video. I don't think I've missed out anything that I wanted to say, though. No, don't think so. Right, thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and I will see you on the very next video, hopefully. Goodbye for now.